Do you want to stay up to date with the messiest drama on the internet? Or what about those crazy viral challenges? Then be sure to tune in to TMZ Verified, the podcast. I'm Wild.
I'm Steph.
And each week we're either breaking down the spicy viral stories or we're hanging out with the most popular influencers around. Tana Mojo is in the building.
I don't even know if they're hating. They're probably just telling the truth, but we love the haters too.
Sophia Franklin.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk, but like, let's be real with each other, you know?
Bryce Hall is here, y'all. Make some noise, people.
I'm single, by the way.
Right.
So if you like viral drama, influencer culture, and just overall hot messiness, check out new episodes of TMZ Verified every Thursday right here on Spotify.
Bienvenidas al podcast Dos Bold Latinas. Aquí están sus hosts, Jatna Abreu
y Josibel Madera Vialet, dos latinas feministas born in Santo Domingo y in New York.
Passionate about Latina empowerment, Spanglish,
learning, growth, and so much more.
Hola mujeres. In today's episode, we will be chatting with Sam Reyna about the importance of skincare, especially for us Latinas. Sam is a facialist and acne specialist who has her own business here in West Michigan called Reyna Aesthetics. Sam has over 6 years of experience on skincare. Her focus is corrective skincare treatments while promoting relaxation. And she will be sharing some tips on taking care of our skin during the summertime and beyond. So with that, I would like to welcome Sam to our podcast and dive right into some of the questions we have for her today. So welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me this morning.
Of course. So, we'll start with the first question because I know a lot of people would want to know more about you, especially because you have a business. So can you introduce yourself and share your background in skincare industry, particularly as it relates to summer skincare, but also more about like your background, like did you go to school? Are you from here, from Grand Rapids? And so forth.
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Sam. I'm a licensed esthetician. I've been in the industry for 6 years. So I did grow up here in Grand Rapids. I was born and raised here. I went to Douglas J. Aveda downtown. I did the esthetician program. When I first started the program, I thought I wanted to do lashes, but I actually struggle with my own skin issues, acne being like the number one. Sorry. Acne being the number one. And when I started facials and when I noticed my skin changing and when I started doing more research on how to really help my skin, I really got into the facials, kind of like ignored the lashes, and I really found a passion in helping other people correct their skin and helping them with their skin as well. What else did you ask? I'm sorry.
So you talked about, where you were born and also kind of like why you got into the skincare industry specifically, because you yourself kind of like, not suffer, but like you had those like acne issues essentially. You wanted to learn more. But can you touch a little more on before you got into the skincare industry, like what kind of like, what was your passion before? Like, has that always been your passion, or besides, what you were going through, like what kind of led you to, I'm gonna create my own business and I'm gonna focus on this thing specifically?
I honestly didn't know too much about skin growing up. I mean, like I said, I struggle with acne from a very, very young age. And I'm Latina, and I feel like a lot of Latino parents don't really have a lot of advice. At least my parents didn't. It was very much like, hey, like use this home remedy, and there wasn't really a lot of education with that. So when I became an esthetician and I started learning more about advanced treatments and I really started noticing my skin clear, that's where my passion for skincare began. So actually in aesthetic school, they don't really teach you too much. They don't go into detail about really what truly helps your skin. So when I started to learn this, I wanted to do the same for others. And unfortunately, also in the area, I feel like not a lot of people are experienced with our skin color, our skin tone, and all of the different skin conditions that we deal with as Latinas. And I feel like I just really wanted to educate more people about it and really help people get a healthy skincare routine and know what to use for their skin. I also work at a downtown spa in downtown Grand Rapids, and I've been there 6 years, my whole career. I'm the lead esthetician there, but I opened my own business 2 years ago, specializing in corrective skincare and acne.
Love it. Thank you so much, Sam, for giving that background. Totally relatable to us. And guys, I had the privilege of meeting Sam this week. I got an espresso facial, and it was totally express, but I wanted to stay there. We talked a lot. Sam was being like, oh my gosh, this girl could talk all day, but it was fun. We talked a little bit about everything. So it was very engaging. And again, like I was super excited to be able to know that there's a Latina here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, focusing on corrective skincare, because it is true. Like we mentioned our conversation, oh, Iva Podu is our best friend with acne growing up, because I even said, a veces me sale una ahí and me pongo Iva Podu y se me va, but not all of us are like that, right? And not all of my pimples when they come out are treatable that way. So with that in mind, it's like, what are the and I also talked to her about how I was on vacation in DR and I was in the sun for 4 hours and I still have my skin peeling. So this question is like perfect. I'm gonna have all ears, and hopefully all you guys have all ears too. Okay, Sam, it's like, what are some of the common skincare challenges that Latina face during the summer months? And how does the skin respond differently in hotter climates?
So I actually just posted this on my business Instagram, but with our skin color, our number one condition that we struggle with as a person of color is hyperpigmentation. So it really increases in the summertime, especially if we're not wearing sunscreen correctly. So I always recommend to reapply sunscreen every couple hours. Our skin tone is just more prone to that hyperpigmentation, darkening. And I always like to tell my clients to make sure to prevent that before it happens, because once hyperpigmentation happens in the skin and the longer it stays on the skin, unfortunately, the longer it takes to remove it, and it can get worse over the years. So I always say, even if we don't burn like a typical person or peel, it doesn't mean we're not prone to sun damage. We still have to protect our skin.
That is great information, Sam. And to that note, talking about sunscreen and hyperpigmentation, sun protection is crucial, obviously, during the summer, which you mentioned. So what are your top tips for choosing the right sunscreen, and how can Latinas find products that cater to their specific skin needs?
Yeah, so like I said, it's very important to wear sunscreen every single day of the year. It doesn't matter if it's summertime, if it's rainy, if it's cold out, year round, you should be wearing it. Some people don't like to wear it because some sunscreens leave a white cast on the skin, especially if you're a little bit darker like I am. So I always say there's so many different types. I love chemical sunscreens. So there's two different kinds. There's chemical sunscreens that kind of absorb into the skin a little bit more and they don't leave a white cast, or there's physical or mineral sunscreens. Those do feel a little bit heavier on the skin. So if you're acne prone, you probably will prefer a chemical one. But it's kind of like a trial and error. It took me years to really find one that I love, but actually at my suite, I retail some sunscreens. So I always like to give my clients options, because sometimes chemical sunscreens can feel a little bit strong for sensitive skin. So mineral is better to have a little bit, something a little more gentle. But it kind of just depends on your skin type. I would recommend seeing an esthetician so we can kind of help, or I can kind of help kind of guide you to the right sunscreen, or, do your research, I guess. But yeah, as a Latina woman or just anyone out there that has darker skin tone, I feel like chemical sunscreens are a little bit better because it doesn't leave that super white cast on your skin that a lot of people try to avoid.
See, I'm already learning something new. I'm like, oh, chemical versus mineral sunscreen. I had no idea. I'm just like, oh, does this like SPF? Okay, I'm wearing sunscreen. So I love how you are able to educate your customers about that. And I know that when I was in there, I asked you something specifically, like after I had my facial, you're like, oh, how does that look? What do you use? And I talked about my minimal skincare routine. And you were able to give me some tips already about products. So love it how you retail that sunscreen at your boutique. You guys, she has a beautiful setup, by the way. Anyways, so with rising temperatures and humidity, we're talking about like people sometimes have oily skin or acne prone skin, like as you were saying, and they may experience different breakouts, as you were saying, oh, mineral versus chemical. But besides the sunscreen, how can us Latinas adjust our skincare routines to address these concerns, like oily skin versus acne prone skin?
So I definitely would say try not to wear too much makeup in the summertime, especially when it's super hot out. It could clog your pores and create inflammation in the skin. Also, using a gel cleanser. So there's a bunch of different types of cleansers you can be using, but I recommend more of a gel cleanser because it helps kind of dry up any oils on the skin, keep your skin as clean as it can be. And I always recommend using 2 cleansers. I guess it's called double cleansing. I don't know if you two have heard of that, but if you're, cleansing your skin at nighttime, it's best to do 2 cleanses. I usually do a cream cleanser first to remove any sunscreen or, residual makeup or oils that I have on the skin. And then I go in with a second cleanser, which is usually a gel cleanser. And that kind of targets more of the oils underneath the skin, kind of clear out the pores a little bit. And then just washing your face every day. Don't sleep with makeup on. Try not to touch your skin throughout the day, especially when you're, out and about. A lot of the times people don't really realize how much germs can be on like your cell phone or your hands. So try to like limit touching your skin. Yeah, I guess those are the top ones I can think about.
I love how you mentioned, because you mentioned like, oh, I'm not sure if you two know about that, but when you said the cream cleanser versus the gel cleanser, I do remember once I went to where we work for an organization that has like its own beauty products. And I went to the store to buy specifically like a cleanser, like a set or like a skincare set for myself for nighttime. And I remember seeing the cream one. It was like a cream cleanser, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh, I thought it was like a regular, like you wash your face cleanser. And then I purchased that one, and I came home, and then that night I was using it, and then like it felt super weird. So I was like, this isn't what I was looking for. So I had no idea. Like now that you're explaining it, what the purpose of that is, I'm like, oh, so that's what that was. And I didn't know how to use it. And I was like, that's not what I was looking for. So now I have an idea. You're saying that like you usually use it to take off like your makeup or any excess stuff that you have in your face, and then you go in and use the actual gel cleanser, which makes perfect sense now. See, we're learning so much.
Right.
Okay, so our next question is, some people like to use natural remedies for skincare, as you know, especially Latina women. Like we talked about the Vivaporu that we use it on our face sometimes. So are there any natural ingredients or DIY treatments that you suggest for summertime skincare for those people that do not like to buy like an actual brand, for them to use, and something that they can make like at home, or just like less chemicals, but something that they could just make themselves?
One thing I can think of is aloe, like an aloe plant. If you cut it open and you kind of scoop it out and keep it in the fridge, especially if you burn during the summer, or if you just want a little bit extra hydration, you can always do that. That's Honestly, the only thing I can think of right now, I always like to encourage people to try skincare, even if you're more on the natural side. Just because if you truly have skin conditions such as acne or hyperpigmentation, you kind of need a little bit extra help when it comes to that. You can't really get real results with just natural skincare. You do need more of like the chemicals, but there's a bunch of different options. It doesn't mean you have to get something that's super strong for the skin. But I mean, if we're on the topic of, natural or making at home, aloe would be my number one that I would do.
Yes, Savila. As we were in DR, as all of my cousins got super burnt. Ironically, they live in DR, but they don't get any sun exposure.
Oh,
So they had really bad experience with the sun. And it was that like, oh, ponte Savila and all these things. So I keep talking about vacation. I just felt like this was a perfect timing. I wish I would have known more before that. But also like we're out there, especially when we're traveling, we don't stay as hydrated as much. Like we don't get the chance to drink the regular amount of water. And also our skincare becomes challenging. So are there any top travel-friendly skincare tips that you have for Latinas on the go? And also like, hey, I'm staying hydrated so our skin is also stays glowing.
yeah. Yeah. So I always tell people, try not to do an overwhelming amount of products. Just do what works for your skin. If you're someone that's super on the go, maybe you have kids, maybe you just don't have time in the day, keep your routine simple. As long as you have something you can use and you have enough time for, that would be the best. If that means only using a cleanser and a toner, or just a cleanser and a SPF, and you don't want to add all the extra serums, you don't have to if you don't have time for it. And I always just recommend to, especially if you're traveling, if you have a full-size products, go to the dollar store, get those little mini to-go or travel cases, and put your products in there, and put it in a cute little bag. That way you can see it every day and use it. But the best skincare is something that you're actually going to use. It doesn't matter if it's 2 steps, 3 steps, 5, 6, as long as you're using it, that's the best thing you can do.
On that note, Sam, this isn't necessarily the next question, but if you were to recommend that we stick to, because a lot of us are like moms and like we work and like, yes, we want to keep up with the like the self-care and like taking care of ourselves and our skin, but we don't really have a lot of time to do those things. So like if you were to recommend Latina women or just women in general to do out of the whole process of doing a skincare routine, like what would be the steps that you are like, yeah, if you're gonna take care of your skin, these are, and you want to keep it simple and fast, like these are the 2-3 things that you should do, and skip the rest, and you should be fine.
I would definitely say cleanser would be number one, especially if you wear makeup, but just anyone should be cleansing their skin every day. For sure, SPF with moisturizer. So there's, like I said, there's a bunch of different kinds of SPFs or sunscreens and moisturizers, but get one that has both in it, moisturizer with sunscreen. That way it's fast and easy and you don't have to add an extra step. And I would say, what else? I would say maybe a lip balm too, just to hydrate the lips. But if you want it super simple, as long as you have your cleanser and SPF, you're good to go. If you, like I said earlier, if you have a little bit extra issues in your skin or acne, you do need a little bit more than just those two, but those would be the top ones I would recommend.
Also, so if you, like additionally to that, because we talked about having like oily skin, like, just like regular skin and like all these kinds of type of skins, like if someone wanted to have a better understanding as to like what kind of skin they have and what kind of complications and what kind of products they should be leveraging for their skincare routine, is your recommendation that someone goes to like esthetician to figure that out, or can someone figure that out without having to go to an esthetician? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so the easiest way you can kind of know what type of skin you are is if your skin is more oily, your skin texture will look more like an orange peel texture. So the pores are going to be a little bigger and more visible. So you would need more of like, I guess, um, not as heavy products on your skin because if you're oily, you're more prone to inflammation and blackheads, whiteheads, or acne. And if your skin doesn't really have that texture, you can't really see the pores, or if you feel like your skin's flaking, you're definitely more on the dry side. Honestly, majority of people that come in and see me, they're kind of right in the middle, and our skin changes throughout the seasons too. Someone can feel more oily during the summer and dry during the winter. So I always like to change my skincare products depending on the season. So, and your skin changes as you age too, and all of that. So your skin is constantly changing. And, I have people that felt dry for years and all of a sudden they started getting oily. So, I want to say you don't really have one specific skin type, but yes, I would recommend visiting an esthetician. That way we can kind of do a skin analysis, see what you need for your skin, and do product recommendations from there.
Thank you. So I'm actually kind of hungry. And I'm like thinking, I wonder what Sam would say to keep us, you know how they say a diet plays a role in everything, in our skin and our hair, overall body health. Pero like, are there any specific foods that you can let us know, like what can support to keep our skin radiant during this season of the summer? Like I want to leave and know what I'm gonna eat next today.
Yeah. So definitely fruits and vegetables. I mean, I know we always hear that growing up, eat your fruits and vegetables and your water, but truly that's what's going to help. You want your antioxidants, so you want your blueberries, your vitamin C from oranges, your greens from spinach, kale, all of that. So making sure you eat or I guess I should say, like, you are what you eat. So if you're eating poorly and if you're eating McDonald's every day or, fried food every day, your skin's going to show that, especially if you are more on the acne prone side. Some people are, genetics, their skin is great and they don't really have issues no matter what they eat, but definitely protecting your skin from the inside out. So making sure you eat colorful food and fruits and all of that.
Okay, I'm curious. Do you specifically have a go-to fruit that you like, Sam?
Um, in the summertime, watermelon. I feel like
Okay.
it keeps you very hydrated,
Okay.
and it goes with the same thing. Like if you're hydrating internally, it'll show externally too. So you can tell if you're lacking water, if you're lacking fruits and vegetables. You can see it in your skin. So I like
Okay.
to have more hydrating fruits during the summer.
Okay. And I asked because I remember when you were applying all the products during my facial, you mentioned papaya and
Mhm.
some other fruits and vegetables. And I'm like, oh, like I wonder, like I like how the products that you use also are more, plant-based and are things like, oh, I'm applying it to my skin. I should also be eating them. So thank
Yes.
you for that. Watermelon. Watermelon it is for this weekend.
Yes.
So Sam, if you could, out of everything we talked about today, on skincare and some of those tips that you provided, if you could consolidate into like top three pieces of advice for Latinas that are looking to achieve healthy and radiant skin, just overall, what would be those top three recommendations for you?
I definitely would say if you don't already have a skincare routine, it's not too late. No matter how old you are, you can start a routine. Really start taking care of your skin. I was telling Rosie Bell when she came in for her facial that preventative skincare is a little bit easier than corrective. So if you have really bad hyperpigmentation, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to correct that. So if you're using the products now to prevent any further damage to your skin, that's perfect. And like I said earlier, visiting an esthetician will really help with your skin concerns. Because a lot of the times we're seeing videos on TikTok and Facebook, and we're buying all these products that we eventually never use, and we just spend all this money on products, and it's kind of, you know, a lot of people get discouraged, or they think that it's like a waste of money, waste of time. But a lot of times what people don't understand is you're probably not using the right products if it's not working. So I always say visit a professional. That way we can really push you towards the right products, right treatments that you need. If you've never gotten a facial done, definitely get one done at least once in your life. There's a bunch of treatments that really help your skin feel healthy, look healthy. And yeah, I'm all about skincare. So I feel like everybody should have a skincare routine.
Thank you, Sam. And that brings to mind it is true. Like I was telling you, I had a cousin in New York that she's like, oh my gosh, I'm looking at all these products on TikTok. Can you bring me some? And I actually was like, oh, I'm going to try some out too. And then we're like, oh, sometimes you're like, oh, did it work on me? Or I have an allergic reaction. So it is like, how can you identify and avoid potential triggers, especially when trying new products? Like how can you tell if you're sensitive or an allergic reaction? Like, what are your recommendations for that when we're trying out new things?
So, so like I said in the beginning, I've been doing this for 6 years, and it took me a long time to really figure out what really helps your skin. Everybody's skin's different. So even if you're watching something on TikTok and they said, oh, this helped clear my skin, or my skin looks amazing, what works for that person might not work for you. So if you're using something and you feel like your skin kind of feels tight, dry, red, or patchy, don't use it anymore. Don't try to get your skin used to it, because you can end up really doing some damage to your skin. So that's why I always recommend visiting a professional, because we can tell what you need and we take all the guesswork out of, what you need for your skin. That way you're not wasting your money. We can really help with really visual, or really just seeing what you need for your skin. So don't get any chemical peels for at home. That's never a good idea to do. If you're starting any serums that have any active ingredients, so glycolic acid, retinol, all of that, start slowly first. And then if your skin gets used to it, if you don't see a reaction, then you can continue to use it. But if you, like I said, if you feel like right away you have a reaction, or your skin feels hot or burny, stop using it, because you can really do a lot of damage to your skin.
Thank you, Sam. And we have learned so much from this, small amount of time that we spent with you. And so we want to know and learn where we can find you in social media, so other people can go find you, and also about your physical presence, because you did mention that you do have a business, and we want to make sure that we promote that business. And so how can someone find you on social media and then book an appointment with you if they're interested in learning more about their own, type of skin, and getting more treatments and just starting their skincare routine journey?
Yeah, so the easiest way to look me up is on Instagram. So it's Reyna Aesthetics. I don't even think I mentioned this, but Reyna is my last name. That's why it's Reyna Aesthetics. So you can find me on there. I do have my booking link for appointments. I am accepting new clients. And even if you're, maybe a little bit on the skeptical side, or maybe you don't know what you truly need for your skin, I do free consultations. So anybody that comes in and, I can assess your skin, see what you need, and then we can kind of go from there. If anyone ever has questions, I'm always free to, are open to DMs. You can always send me a message on there. I think my email's on Instagram as well. So if you prefer email, anyone can send me an email there with any questions. And you can also see my before and afters there. I like to post a lot of what I can do for your skin, and I'm really here to help. I'm here to help achieve your skin goals, and really help you learn about skin, and really truly find a passion with helping people and clearing skin, and just preventing any future skin issues that you may have.
Thank you so much, Reyna. So talk about self-care with Sam today and connecting it to like her personal struggles in skincare is like totally relatable. So I love how we can all relate to you. And yeah, I mentioned I got a facial, oh my gosh, express facial with her. And it was because I was able to quickly get on her calendar and quickly get that done. And I'm definitely I asked her like, hey, how often should we be coming in for a facial? And she told me like for my type of skincare, every month. So yes, I am gonna add that into that because I'm like, if I spend money on like just doing nails for almost the same amount of money, like why wouldn't I invest this in my own skincare, which is longevity? Like this is an investment I really want to do on myself. And the next one, if you're curious, I'm gonna be getting the anti-aging facial because that's what Helena recommended. Like I'm telling you, like she'll tell you and truly care about what your skin is right there on the go. And you know, we always give you homework. So we definitely recommend for you to go back and listen to this episode if you were a little bit distracted because I was taking notes. Pero here are your to-do list. If you have not started a skincare routine or if you're not consistent, as I would say I am, is use these top three things. Number one, a cleanser. Number two, a SPF with moisturizer. And number three, a lip balm. Like it was interesting. I was like, oh, lip balm, that doesn't like, I never thought of that in my skincare routine, but it's so true. Like it's part of our face. It's like sometimes like, oh, I have glowing skin, but then crusty lips. um, just to exaggerate. I know that we wouldn't, but sometimes like I have put on lipstick and I'm like, oh, so maybe like it doesn't look as pretty, and it's like because of that. Maybe my lips aren't as moisturized, so it did get me thinking to that. So yes, because as Sam said, preventative is a lot easier than corrective. So let's all start somewhere. And even like our young ones, I was thinking, if we have little ones, they watch us. Like my daughter would be like, ¿Qué es lo que tú te estás poniendo? So we can, you know, teach them young also. And besides those three steps, your second homework is to definitely go and follow on Instagram at Reyna Aesthetics. Like she does have a lot of information on there and she'll do on her stories for us to get educated. So your education on skincare could either be online or until you decide to visit an esthetician. Because if you're not in Grand Rapids, Michigan, to visit Sam Reyna, you could go and visit anyone locally in your city or town. So thank you so much, Sam, for joining us today. This was super informational. I can't wait to keep following you on social media and visiting you in person so we could talk all things skincare. So thank you so much. Y chicas, hasta la próxima. Ciao.